All right, folks, welcome to the Team VTAC podcast or the Spun Up video cast. And we're trying something new here. My buddy Rich, who puts this all together, he had to go stop a terrorist attack. So we're a little behind on getting this out. But I've been on the river fishing too. So if I look a little jacked up, I guess it might be because of that. But I'm hoping that you get something out of what we're going to try to accomplish here. So today, what I want to talk about is I'm talking about leadership and getting buy-in from your people. As with the other leadership podcasts that we've done here, I'm using my notes. So if you're watching this on video, please forgive me, but I've been hit on the head a lot. I want to make sure that I do cover everything that I wanted to, that I thought was important for this particular podcast. I still have the some of the write-in, I guess, emails that I need to address as far as the leadership podcasts go, and I'm going to get to those. And that's kind of where this came from too. I want to hit this hard, and then we'll get on with some of those letters as well. Probably not today, but later on. So when we talk about leadership and getting buy-in from your people, I want to ask you a few simple questions, and only you can answer these. Are you the smartest person in the room? If you're the leader, are you the smartest person in the room? Are you perceived as thinking you're the smartest person in the room? So do you believe that since you're in the leadership position, you're the smartest person in the room, you have to be the smartest person on the team? And I think that if you're honest, you probably realize that you're not the smartest person in the room. If you think that, I'm not sure that I can help you. And even if you legitimately are the smartest person in the room, how is that going to help you when you start trying to lead people? I would say that can oftentimes be a hindrance. And if you do believe you're the smartest person in the room, maybe you're just not smart enough to look at all the people that you're leading and find out what they bring to the table. In the past, I've had folks that I've worked with that did think they were the smartest person in the room, and they like to hear themselves talk. And I guess I got a podcast, so I like to hear myself talk. But I know when I step into a room, I'm definitely not the smartest person there. But if I want to get smart, I got to listen to everybody that I'm leading and take everything that they have and apply it to whatever we've got going on. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on here as well. So first of all, we've got some law enforcement folks that listen to this podcast, and I want to hit there real quick. So first of all, if you have a chief of police, they're appointed. So what would make him or her the smartest in law enforcement? And as we've seen, this absolutely can't be the case. If you're a chief of police, you're neutered by the ties that you have to your mayor or your city council. So if you still want to be perceived as the smartest person in the room as the chief, it's going to be difficult. You're going to stand up there and talk to a news organization, throw your people under the bus. They're not smart enough to make these tough decisions, when in fact you weren't even elected. You were selected because of your links to the mayor or the city council. So nothing against the chief of police that actually supports those that are the smart guys and the smart gals out in the street doing what they have to do. But we as leaders should back those people as well. Now, if they do something illegal, immoral, or unethical, that's a different story. But as we've seen recently in the news, a lot of our law enforcement are getting thrown under the bus by chiefs of police that literally could not do the job of their officers. 99% of the time when I see a chief of police, they can't do what their guys and gals do out in the street. I guarantee the mayor can't do what they do. And the city councilmen and women, that would be, it would be hilarious, I guess, but it would be like watching a train wreck. You couldn't take your eyes away from the TV to watch a city councilman or city councilwoman, some of these folks that we see on the fringes of America that are treating law enforcement so poorly. I guarantee they couldn't do as good a job. So experienced cops are the performers. Okay, they do this every day. Their minds are consumed with catching bad guys. They shouldn't be thinking about politics. Now, this day and age, what happens? Our cops are out there and they start to second guess themselves, which I would challenge you not to do that. You should absolutely be thinking about your job, capturing or killing bad guys. That's what the job of law enforcement is. Some people get their feathers ruffled when I say capture or kill bad guys, but what are the choices? You're here to protect and serve. You're either going to capture a bad guy because they've done something wrong, or you're going to kill the bad guy because they're a threat to you or a citizen of your jurisdiction. So one of the notes I've got here is, so your minds are consumed with catching bad guys, not politics, or at least that's how it used to be before chiefs of police have thrown their officers under the bus before finding out the facts. So I would challenge you as cops, just keep doing your job. And if you do your job correctly, everything's going to work out fine. So try to avoid listening to what the chief says, because obviously that's your boss, but still at the end of the day, if they're doing it for political reasons, you need to do it for the right reasons, not the political reasons. So what about sheriffs? I suppose sheriffs thought they were going to slide by because they're actually elected. So you're elected out there as a sheriff. Does that make you the smartest person in the room? Well, if you're a sheriff, you may actually have some law enforcement background. So maybe you could be switched on, but once again, there's no possible way that you're the smartest guy in the room. So we should listen to those that are around you. The smartest sheriffs that I've met out in the field are those that listen to their people, and they listen to their community, and they're making educated decisions by, one, having the experience, looking to the other experienced officers, and making those decisions with that input. They absolutely want those professional and experienced law enforcement officers to help guide their decisions. And if you're a chief of police, I hope that you would do the same thing. So, some of you chiefs are lucky. Maybe you don't get sucked into the politics, but I would say recently that's kind of been what's been happening. So once again, don't be the smartest guy in the room. Be the best listener and combine what you hear from all of the experience to make a great, well thought out, smart decision. You're surrounded by people that know what's going on. Listen to them and make that decision. So what does any of this have to do with knowledge? And I would ask you this question. I want you to think about this for just a second. Is knowledge power? I believe knowledge is power. But if you're the only person that has that knowledge, then it's definitely not power. Knowledge dominance to me is we have the ability to have the information that every single person in that room has. Every single person in your law enforcement department has. Every member of your military unit, whoever they are, whatever job they have, we can have all of that information at our fingertips if we listen to our people. If you want to have knowledge dominance, it comes from working as a team. It doesn't come from being your own person and doing your own thing. It comes from you as a leader being switched on enough and smart enough to listen to those smart people around you. So let's take a look at pre 9/11. So if people get their feathers ruffled here, get over it, maybe start making better decisions. But before 9/11, the FBI wasn't talking to the military. The CIA wasn't talking to local law enforcement or the military. DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, they were talking to the military, but maybe not to law enforcement. So 9/11 was just a devastating attack on our country by extremists. And when that happened, it made our government departments say, we have got to talk to each other so that we can stop this from happening. I was lucky enough to be part of that when it happened. We had seen pre 9/11 and what was going on, and post 9/11, we also got to see quickly who wanted to be on that team and who wanted to have knowledge dominance. So if we wanted to be successful on the battlefield, we had to have the FBI talking to DIA, talking to the military. CIA, they were still not really helping. we wanted them to help, and they probably helped on a few missions. But I would say this, that they're probably the hardest to work for because they feel like they are the smartest guy in the room. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about ground branch guys. Some of you guys out there know who you are. Some of you are friends of mine. Some of y'all listen to this podcast. You guys are doing what the military needs to have done, working in a paramilitary type operation that you're in. But what we saw was that FBI quickly got on board, even deploying downrange with us. DIA kept doing what they're doing, giving actionable intelligence so we could do what needed to be done. FBI was also talking to local law enforcement. Now I'm talking about right after 9/11 and up until probably the last few years, where we've seen the FBI lose a lot of credibility with what they've done. And I think that they lost that credibility because, once again, they started to think they were the smartest guy in the room. At least a few people in the FBI thought that. The FBI director was severely thought he was the smartest guy. Comey thought he was extremely smart. And some of the other folks up there did too, trying to do things in our country that are absolutely unethical, illegal, and immoral. And as you can see, that was because of politics as well. So the moral of that story is, if you want to capture or kill bad guys, you got to get away from politics. You've got to do what needs to be done to make it happen. I hope the FBI can recover from that. And I think they can. It might take them 20, 30 years, but in America, 20 or 30 years goes by relatively quickly. I have been very impressed with military intelligence, the intel officers and intel, especially the intel NCOs that are developing targets so that whether you're in the Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, the targets that are developed, one by DIA and two by our internal elements in the military, I've been very impressed by what they do. So why are they impressive and why are some of the others not so impressive? Well, because they're part of the team. They're looking the people in the face that they have to work with. So they can't be the smartest guy in the room because we already know that that's not the case, and they already know that. But we also know that when those infantry guys or SF guys, Rangers, SEALs, whoever it might be, when they come into that room, they're looking for that intel guy to give them the best intelligence they possibly can. And we're going to discuss it. We're going to all put our heads together and figure out how to find, track this person down, capture, kill them, whatever that mission entails. So once again, being part of the team, that's what delineates that knowledge dominance. If you've got a team and everybody works together, you absolutely have knowledge dominance. So continuing with that, so how do truly smart leaders treat their subordinates? If I was going to say, I'm looking at a leader that I respect, that I know is a great leader or a good leader, but we're going to talk about great leaders here. How would they treat their subordinates? The first thing that I would say is respect. You have to treat your people with respect. I would also probably say treat them with the respect that they deserve. There are some people that we lead that might not deserve quite as much respect as others. But if you've got contributing members of your team, they deserve respect. So let's break that down even farther. Motor pool, logistics, managers that are making sure you got fuel in your vehicles, pilots that are going to fly you into the objective. For you guys that are in law enforcement, there's a lot of people that it takes to get you on the streets to do your job. In the military, same thing. When you're deploying, who's going to get you there? Well, the Air Force is going to fly you there, period. That's the way it's going to be. We're going to get on the ground. We probably got some pilots. They may be 160th. They may be regular Army pilots, aviation dudes that are going to get you to your objective, or they're at least going to get you to your FOB. Then we got to have mechanics. How would we operate if we didn't have mechanics that could fix our vehicles and keep them running so we could go out and do our job? POL, my buddy out there, John Burns at Wyoming Arms, my favorite POL dude in the whole world. If we didn't have fuel, how are we going to get to the objective? So respect is to every member of that team. Every member of that team deserves that respect. Cooks, how would you survive if you didn't have chow? People fixing your air conditioning. I mean, they're all part of that team. So second of all, we have to draw on their knowledge. So respect these people and then draw on their knowledge. No matter who they are, they have knowledge that they can apply. We used to talk to our drivers because they're driving our vehicles. They're also motor pool people. We need to know what this vehicle can do. Well, what do you think we should do? Well, I think we should just crash the gate. And I looked at the motor pool guy like, well, he's the guy that's got to fix it if it gets broke. So, all right, let's crash the gate. There you go. That's how we're going to get inside the compound that we're going to hit. Use their experience to your advantage. I would say that in the military, we're lucky because you're surrounded by experienced people. If you come on as a lieutenant and you become a platoon leader, you're going to have a platoon sergeant that should have just a plethora of knowledge. And then your squad leaders, they should also have knowledge as well. Use their experience to gather the knowledge that they have and apply that to your mission. If you're a captain and you're going to be you're going to be the company commander, you're a first sergeant. If you're a first sergeant, you've been in the Army for quite a long time anyway. If you're a captain, you've been at least in for a few years. But then again, you might have NCOs below you that have more time in the military than you do, or maybe they got more time doing this mission, going overseas and conducting combat operations, or whatever that mission is. It doesn't have to be combat operations, whatever your mission happens to be. Or you might have lieutenants below you that used to be NCOs. Why wouldn't you want to draw on that experience that they have and take advantage of it? Number 4. So number 1 was respect. Number 2 was draw on their knowledge. Number 3 was use their experience to your advantage. And number 4, get buy-in by taking and understanding everyone's ideas and concerns. Everyone's. Now, there's a time that we can't do this because we might have a time-sensitive target that we have to react to. But during training and the build-up to a mission, we can absolutely try to understand everybody's ideas and concerns. So get buy-in by listening to those other people around you. Once again, there comes a time we have to say, okay, stop talking. Now it's time for action. Okay, and number 5, this is very important. This must be real. It can't be fake. Oh, I want your input, but then you go in an entirely different direction. Okay, if you're asking people for input, listen to their input and figure out if they've got something there. Now, not all input is going to be good. Not all input is going to be applied to that next mission or that next arrest that you make out in the streets. But you as the leader need to listen to everybody and take that input, honestly take that input, don't fake it, and then make the correct decision. That's where we're going to make better decisions if we've got more intelligence. And by intelligence, I don't just mean what the bad guy's doing, but intelligence like who's on my team and what do we have as capabilities today or tomorrow or next week. So the next point that I would like to make is that if you struggle with this as a leader, that's relatively normal. This isn't going to happen overnight. This is something that takes some work to do this. So you've got to practice how you're going to employ those people around you and below you to define how you and your team operate. I promise you're not going to be disappointed if you start taking input from the people on your left, your right, up, down, all around you, and start to have that knowledge of dominance. You know, I love General Washington. I'm going to go back to him for a minute here. General Washington used to have, he called it a council of war to define his and others' ideas and percolate that and figure out what they were going to do. Maybe he already had a plan of what he wanted to do, but listening to the input during that council of war many times changed what he was going to do. Sometimes it made him move faster. Sometimes it made him slow down a little bit. So now you need to have a council of war and listen to the smart people all around you. So here's the next question. If we take ideas from our people and we fail, isn't it their fault? We took their ideas and we failed. Absolutely not. No way. Absolutely not. You are the leader and you've got to own it. So if you want to be the smartest guy in the room, take input from everybody, define the direction that you're going to take with that input, and then own it. You made the final decision. Your people are going to live and die with that decision. So ultimately, as leaders, we've got to own it, good or bad. You're in charge. So listening to your people, taking their advice and experience into account, making sound decisions. This will give you the buy-in you're looking for. Don't pass the blame. You got to own it. You're going to see in the end that your subordinates will be there with you through thick and thin. And if you're truly leading them towards success as a team, I promise you they're going to be there with you. The more you bring them in, the more knowledge we're going to have. And the other thing that's nice about that too is with increased responsibility, people are going to perform at a higher level. You start bringing these young team leaders in. By team leaders, I'm talking about the normal military team leader, which is below a squad leader. Make them part of that process. Make those squad leaders part of that process. If it's a company operation, if it's a battalion operation, give responsibility and you're going to see your people rise to the occasion. All right. So I hope you all get something out of that. Once again, send your emails to LAMB at vikingtactics.com. Leadership. Leadership is so important. Everything is about leadership. So get buy-in from your people. I'm trying a different way to record this. I've got my headset on, so hopefully that helps a little bit there. I was told that I was getting a lot of reflection off my glasses. So I took my glasses off. I made my print a little bit bigger so I can read it a little bit better there. But if you have feedback, positive or negative, we want to hear it. And man, the leadership discussions that we've had with people because of this, I've talked to Dustin Salmon. I'm going to get him back on. Not just to talk about the books he's written, but to talk about leadership when he was in the Navy and kind of where we see the Navy headed right now. Also, I've been talking to a few of my other buddies in the military. We're going to try to get them on and talk more about leadership. I'm also going to keep having folks come on and do interviews like I've done, but it's been a little bit more difficult to do that. I've got a new program that I'm using now called Squadcast. So if you're watching this or listening to us, that's what we're using. For those of you that are watching it, you'll probably see down in the corner here, it says Kyle Lamb, Commando. You can take Commando however you want, but these folks asked me for my name and my pronoun. I don't know if Commando is a pronoun, but I'm going to stick with Commando. Okay, folks, thanks again for joining us. Once again, if you have feedback, I'd love if you give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to the podcast. I'd love if you would give us a thumbs up on YouTube when we put this out there. And if you've got comments, email them to lamb@vikingtactics.com. I will read every one of them. I don't respond to everyone, but man, I'm getting some great feedback. I even watched a movie the other day because of some of the feedback that y'all gave me. All right, folks, that's all I got for today. This is a relatively short one, so get back out there, do great things, lead your team, have knowledge dominance, and I wish you success, whether it's as a law enforcement officer, as a business person, and near and dear to my heart, you military folks. Last but not least, God bless America.